Dave Daly, Keizer TV. We're going to interview Buster, our canine unit. We're having a safety and prevention fair, and Officer Jefferson's going to tell us about Buster. And what is Buster's favorite snack?
Favorite snack is chicken McNuggets.
Chicken McNuggets. Who knew?
I know.
And does he, when you let him off like in a dog park, and that's a good question, do these dogs ever get to play with other dogs?
At home, I have 2 other dogs,
Okay.
and he interacts with them. On his work days, he's typically resting in his kennel.
Wow.
And then about an hour before we go to work, I'll get him out and let him run around the yard, maybe have some interaction with the other dogs.
Wow.
Yeah, but we don't typically take him to the dog park. A lot of people that have pets think these are pets when they aren't. They're a working dog,
Yeah.
and they have to be treated as a working dog.
Yeah. And they're probably trained that if someone were to walk up to you or maybe, high five you, that could be another communication and protecting you,
Yes.
confusing them.
Yes, very much so. He is trained, and we're certified as a team. One of the things in our certification is the attack on handler. And so he is you can see he's constantly looking around to our surroundings. He's looking for anything that might come up. That's just his life.
So when you're riding around in the vehicle, does he have a favorite song?
He likes Led Zeppelin.
Oh my gosh. He, even though he probably wasn't born in the 70s, is there a chance that through you he's channeling his inner Zeppelin appreciation?
He might a little bit.
Okay, let's see. When does he go to the vet? How often does he get a checkup? Because they do these trainings, everybody, and really when he grabs onto the arm of the trainee, his entire body launches into the air and can be like freestanding from the muscles in his jaws. So how often do these guys go and see the vet and get checked up on?
We're very interactive with these dogs. We bathe them regularly. We work with them every day. And it's the easiest way I can explain it is if you go to work with one of your coworkers that you've been working years with, you can tell if they're not feeling good. You can see it in their eyes. You can see in their demeanor. And so we watch these dogs very closely. We're constantly touching them, holding on to them, looking for any kind of injuries. And so at the drop of a notice, if we notice something wrong, we'll get them into the vet for a checkup to try to identify, because we do have a big investment here to keep our officers safe.
Yeah. And these dogs have a lifespan. Our poor previous canine unit had to retire early because they really are in stressful situations, and those who they're apprehending are a lot bigger than these dogs, and they can hurt our dogs. We've had previous canine units have to retire early. So should a family want to be involved or get ready for the next dog, how can we know when that need would be, or can we put into a fund for a rainy day? What's the best way to plan?
The best thing to do is contact Sergeant Jeff Goodman. He is our supervisor of our canine unit. He keeps track of all the training that we go to, that we're signed up to go to. He kind of keeps the eyes on the purse strings for the canine unit, so when we do have something big coming up, he would be the person to contact and talk to if there's any kind of need.
Yeah. And so tell us about the first day that you got this canine unit. Yeah, Buster. What's that emotion like? What's that intensity?
Well, these dogs, they've been raised to do one thing, and that's work. So his enthusiasm when he gets with his new handler is to go to work. Wow. And so the bond happens relatively quickly between the dog, especially once you start working the dog. And of course, I'm the only one feeding him, so he relies on me much like a child would rely on a parent.
Gotcha.
After the bond takes effect and you start really getting the work done, then you can start integrating your family into it. My son, 16 years old, he goes out and he cleans the kennels, he feeds him when need be. So, he does become part of the family.
Wow, fantastic. These vests, is this bulletproof, or do you have other ones? Or tell us about the equipment the dogs use.
This particular item is called a harness. It's a tracking harness. We have the reflective police on the side, so that way people can identify that he is a working dog. He's not a pet that they can just walk up to, and they shouldn't just walk up to and pet. So this harness is designed, it's got handles here and on the back. That's so we can assist in lifting the dog. We put these dogs into attics. We put them under houses. We put them in different places, and a lot of times we'll have to lift the dog into those positions. So this particular is a lightweight harness that he wears the majority of the time. When we are going into a situation where we know there's an armed person, we have Kevlar vests. They are getting kind of old. From what I've been told, a resident here in Keizer actually just donated the money to purchase all new vests for our 2 canines. So we're in the process of getting the measurements and sending them in so they can be made.
And when you went into the police academy, did you always have an affinity that you knew you wanted to work with a canine? When did it hit you, or does it hit some officers later in their career?
Well, it was prior to my law enforcement that I got involved in dogs, working dogs in a sport. And so when I came into law enforcement, I already had that desire to work with dogs. This here will be the 3rd canine that I've worked for the city of Keizer. I was a handler for Nico and Czar. And then I took kind of a 6-year sabbatical from it, and now I'm back.
Wow. And training, so very expensive to train, acquire, and then what kind of ongoing training? Are there new senses that we need to train the dogs to smell maybe new drugs that are happening, or what's the ongoing training for the dog?
We do weekly training. We do 4 hours of dedicated where we are with a group of other canine handlers. Right now we're currently working our training program with the Salem Police Canine Unit as well as the Marion County Canine Unit. So we do 4 hours a week. The initial training with the canines is about 6 straight weeks where you're 40 hours a week working with the dog. And the main goal is to become certified through the OPCA. They are the certifying body here in Oregon. They test us to make sure we have the proper control, we're properly using the dogs. The biggest ongoing change is the case laws. Laws are constantly being changed or challenged at higher courts, and then those courts come out with their findings. So what we might have done 10 years ago with canines, we don't do now because of the case laws being changed.
Yeah. And in closing, I know one of our previous dogs went to retire with his officer and his family, but can citizens ever put their name in to take a dog, or do you really need to be familiar with these dogs in law enforcement to have them be a pet after their life in service?
Yeah, it's not common. Usually after we've worked a police dog for their career, usually the family is the handler and their family are very attached. So in most cases, the handler will opt to adopt him, and they have to buy him from the city. It's a small fee, but they have to buy him. And then they live out their life with the handler in most cases. Occasionally, they will adopt the dog out, but it's kind of far and few between because these dogs are trained, highly trained, and knowing their capability, you saw a little bit of it out here with the demonstration. You constantly, you wouldn't leave a gun around where there's a little kid. It's same with police dogs. You don't just leave them out to get into mischief, So you just got to keep an eye on them and keep maintaining that obedience with the dog.
And the kennel inside the truck, is it like a regular kennel? Is it tighter? Is it rougher? Is it softer? How is it?
It's all aluminum. Inside it's powder coated so it doesn't rust or anything like that. There's a slider door between the kennel where he rides and the front compartment where I ride. And then there's also a divider in the back. We actually have a single seat on one side that we can transport prisoners in. And then in the very back, you can see we have lots of drawers for the equipment that we need. We carry vests, leashes. We carry a portable ladder to help get the dogs up in the attic. So it's a lot of gear.
And where's he sleep at night?
He sleeps in his doghouse, in his kennel. No, at home. We have a fenced backyard with a big dog kennel.
So he doesn't stay at the station?
No, no. He lives with the handler, as do all the dogs. And somebody has to care for him, give him baths and clean up after him and feed him. And so that's part of our job responsibility.
So check out the website address on screen to learn about our canine units here with Keizer Police. Thanks for talking with us.
You're very welcome.
Officer Jefferson. We learned a lot.
Yes.
If you didn't make it to the prevention and safety fair, you just got all the Q&A that I think a bunch of 6-year-olds got to ask. Officer Jefferson now answered. So share this video. Let's get the word out. I'll rally around our great canine units. And it's a great time to be in Keizer. For more great stories here in Keizer, visit KeizerTV.com. Thank you.